Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com. And listen, I'm up for trying anything in dentistry, anything with small business, anything in orthodontics. I'm up as long as I don't think it's dangerous or it's going to hurt someone or it's not going to like hurt me or cost me a ridiculous amount of money. If it's a small cost, I'll try stuff. And all of you guys should be like open minded like this because listen, I've built my entire business on just trying stuff. Yeah, sure, I've lost a lot of money, but I don't always take the best stuff. I take a lot of new stuff that people are startups because I was a startup, right? People trusted me and invested in my startup. Now I want to trust other startups and find stuff at a great price. So, anyways, so the pain point I'm talking about is marketing for your business, okay? How many of you are paying someone to do your marketing? Making content, posting the content, whether they're making the content, posting the content, or maybe you're paying your staff to do your content. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're going to have to do something like that. Nowadays, I don't think there's very many very profitable dental practices, little on ortho practices. Ortho practices are referral based, right? It used to be they knew they had to come in because they just got referred. Now they got to find you. So unless you have like really been nurturing those relationships, I mean, those relationships can go away on a dime. I mean, if you are putting all your referrals into your GPs and your primary care dentist, you're making a mistake. You got to grow your brand. And if you have, I don't know, unless you're 75 and you're retiring tomorrow, you got to grow your brand. So, anyways, I'm all about growing my brand. Of course, this didn't exist when I grew up. It did not exist when I went to dental school because there was no internet when I was even in high school. I don't think internet got invented till I was in college. So, this is something new. I'm always trying things. My family thinks I'm insane, but I am. So, okay. So I got dared. I get dared a lot. Like people like, try this and then make some content on it. And if it's not too expensive, I'll try it. But I usually do ask my AI to scrape Reddit for negative things first because I want to make sure I know what I'm getting myself into. So I don't got time to go look at all reviews. I don't got time for that. We'll just ask AI to look for it. So um, they did a big scrape and I found nothing bad. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, let's do this then. I mean, for $64, maybe it was 67 with tax for 1 month, and you could literally just do it for 1 month. I make sure. I built my business just like this. I built it so you can sample, try, do teeny little try things, either free or cost nothing, and then people warm up, and then people often purchase something bigger once they realize there actually is an ROI. So, and just like my business, I've never had anyone that hasn't made a shit ton of money on 1 month with me, as long as they do what I recommend, which is not very hard. Anyways, okay, PodMatch. So let's talk about PodMatch. What I did, why I did it. So the reason why I did it is because I'd already been on all the dentist-facing podcasts that would have me. I've reached out to them all multiple times over the last 10 years. Most of them have had me. I mean, I'm on Dental Town. I'm everywhere. I don't think there's a few that are purposely discarding me, but it's because they got beef with me. So, but that's okay. It's all good. So I was like, man, I ran out of podcasts. And that's one of my favorite things to do, to make content with other people. I just really enjoy it and it always gives me ideas. I get to meet creators. Even more fun if it's dental facing, right? Because we always have something to talk about. A couple people started saying, why aren't you have lots of things going on in your life. Like, you're an interesting person. We hear you on YouTube and you're always throwing in random things you do, done, experienced, tried. We'd like to hear a podcast on blah. And I'm like, no, that's not dentistry. I only do podcasts on dentistry. And they're like, well, why? Maybe if your goal is truly to get the word out there about airway, to get the word out there about proper orthodontics, to educate people about what's going on. Listen, I'm not B2C, I'm B2B. My B2B is dentist to dentist. I help dentists, I educate dentists. Dentists go in turn and help their community. That's all it is. I don't work with consumers, and I'm crystal clear. Why? Because the second I start working with consumers, it's a whole different level of regulatory and you're a lot more watched. So no, thank you. I don't work with consumers, but trust me, they beg me all the time, but I won't. So this is how consumers can experience me. And I've had so many consumers ask, where can I hear more about you? But your podcasts are too technical. They're too complex. They're only from dentist to dentist. Where can I just hear about you? I don't know. So hence PodMatch. Okay. So I literally went to AI. This is how cool AI is, especially if you're using a one with a little subscription, because then you get a little better AI. And I said, hey, this is my company. I gave my company. I said, look at all my assets. And I gave them all. Well, actually, it was cool because AI kind of knows who I am already. They told me what all my assets were. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's my assets. And I said, what would you do if I only had $100 to spend on marketing per month? what would you do? And it found this for me. Originally, it found two other companies, and one of them was weird. It was like it would create AI content for you. I didn't like that. The other one would use AI to find podcasts for you, but then you had to reach out to them, which is not a problem, but a lot of times you just get stuck in spam. So this was a little different. And I said, well, what? Is there something else in the middle? And it's like, yeah, we'll try this. And then I looked it up. Cool. So basically, the way this works, it's like Tinder. I mean, without the sex, but it's like that. It's an app, okay? Swipe right, swipe left, swipe right, swipe left, that kind of thing. Where AI is, first of all, you're going to spend a lot of time creating your who you are, uploading all your assets, just like Chat or Genesis did for Gemini did for me. It already knew who I was, so it looked at all my content. It looked at everything I have. Then it said, who should you go to in order to get the word out there a little bit more? You know, who's looking? So basically, what it's going to do is you're going to say who you are, what, you know, from the dentistry to whether interests you have and everything like that. And then other people are going to say what they're looking for, and then it makes recommendations. So it will send everyone, both the podcast hosts and the podcast guests, hey, what about this person? Do you want to swipe right, swipe left? And then if you both match, then it'll set up your pre-interview. So you don't go straight to podcast, you go to pre-interview, which is just a chit chat. Doesn't cost any money to do this, nothing like that. I mean, obviously you find times, you find mutual times on your calendar, you meet, sometimes it's a phone call, sometimes it's a Zoom, sometimes it's on their own platform server, you have a chill convo, and then you decide if you're going to proceed. So far, I've done 5 in 3 days. This is how insane. I signed up only a week ago, okay, 1 week. And it took me a few hours to set up my profile. I mean, it's pretty robust. It's a lot that you have to input because it needs to know you. The AI has to get to know you. That's their AI, right? What you're looking for, things, dislikes, things you definitely don't want to talk about. So, like, there were certain things I wasn't comfortable talking about, but there were certain things I was. So, and then it'll match you and give suggestions. And then you can thumbs up, thumbs down, or maybe, swipe right, swipe left. I don't know what the maybe is for swiping because I don't date people on, I've been married a long time. But in any case, yeah, and then and it said like the chance of you being matched, people accepting the match is pretty low. Well, I didn't have any problems. Like a few people I'm sure did, but so far I have 11 podcasts set up in 2 weeks. 11. 11. And I've already filmed 5 in 2 days. Super easy. And these are pretty chill. Now, a lot of these are international podcasts. And they don't really say. I mean, well, you can look it up yourself, right? Because you have the titles. And I go and I actually look on Spotify, because if they're not on Spotify, I'm probably not going to do it. So they got to at least be on Spotify because then I can listen to it. And then I find ones that I feel like are good alignment. And some of them, like, they're not looking to hear anything about dentistry. They want to hear about, I don't know, what it's like living in Hawaii. I mean, there's a lot of weird conversations I've had, but then they always fold it back into dentistry, right? So, and then they always give you an opportunity to talk about your brand, what you do, right? I've had ones that have talked about travel. I've had ones where we've talked about neurodivergence. I've had ones where we've talked about parenting, a lot where we talked about parenting. Really, really fun. Really, really, a lot of mom podcasts out there. And mom podcasts, that's where you need to be. So you guys got to think about what type of podcasts would you benefit from? Like, what is your clientele that you want? Obviously, you want clientele in your city. So you're probably going to want ones that are listened to in the United States. I did a podcast today that was filmed in Nigeria. Okay. It has a Nigerian audience. It was in English. They had a lot of questions about teeth, and they were interesting questions, but like they were super excited to get to talk to an American orthodontist. I mean, how often do they get to do that? So that's something new for them. And it was cool because the host was like, yeah, I have a lot of friends that are dentists. Thank you so much, for doing this. I'm like, no problem. So really fun. Okay, so I'll tell you what some of the things that AI told me to be warned about in terms of PodMatch. So, and by the way, PodMatch does know I'm filming this because I did reach out to them and they actually gave me their logo to use. They were like so happy, and I think they're a super small startup. But I mean, so far, listen, I'm all about checking out startups, especially ones that'll benefit my clientele, which is dentists and healthcare providers. I don't see anything wrong. I mean, for $65, are you insane if you don't do this? I'm so glad I'm the first dentist that's on this because I have a feeling like 50 are going to sign up, and at least I've filmed the ones that are healthcare facing. But okay, so let me tell you what chat said. So common criticisms of PodMatch according to AI. One, The guest account tier is significantly more expensive than the host tier, which is frustrating. I don't think $65 a month for all the exposure I got is a problem. I have zero problems with that. As a matter of fact, I think the value is more like 1,000. I'm just letting PodMatch know. But please don't charge me 1,000 because, I mean, honestly, barrier to entry, the under 100 got me to enter. So that wasn't a problem. I did talk to one host today who was American based and like had like a pretty good, like decent sized podcast that I hadn't watched, but I actually could have watched it on my own. And it was something I was interested in. He said that he pays something, originally was $5 a month to be a host, and then now that he's a host and a guest, it's $35. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm paying W, but I'm only a guest. He said, well, if you sign up to be a host, then you'll be a lot less. And I was like, I don't really have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel. So I guess in theory that could be my podcast, but I might. We'll see. But yeah, I don't consider that a real issue. I think it's fine. I mean, you need more hosts than guests, right? If you don't have enough hosts, you're not going to have enough guests. So they got to keep the price low so they can get more hosts. I get it. I'm sure they're going to raise the prices. This is probably just promo pricing. Number 2, there's no free trial. Yeah, okay, that was an issue. So when I was signing up, the second when they start getting to the credit card too early, then a lot of times people click off. And it was a bit early. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I jumped off the first time and then I jumped off the second time and then I thought about it and then I went to chat and then I said, well, F it. It's only $60 something. Worst comes to worst. If they scam me, I will just go to my credit card, and deal with it. And they didn't. Like within 5 minutes, it was all set up. Next one is ghosting cancellation. Some guests report their host occasionally reschedule multiple times or fail to publish. I don't know. I mean, we're not at the publishing with me yet. I hadn't had any issues with canceling and I've done 5 out of 5. Everyone was totally on time, super polite, super professional. There were even people in other countries, no problem. So we'll see what happens with that. But they actually have a button for that. They're like, if that happens, push this button and we'll look into it. So I'm not too worried about that. And to be honest, I've done plenty of content with dentists. You know how many times I've been ghosted, rescheduled on, or not published? Like at least 30 to 50% of the time. And these are like professional dentists. So if the rate is under what the rate I'm used to is, I don't care. Okay. I mean, that pisses me off, especially if I got like ready, if I canceled my day. Sometimes I actually, before, when I was doing like Dental Town, like big dental podcasts, Mark Costas, stuff like that, like big ones that are gonna get tens of thousands of eyes. Like I'll actually like rent space out because I live in Hawaii and sometimes there's chickens outside. It's real. The wind can come, the power can go off. This is not like I'm living in an office building, and it's the country, right? So sometimes I have to spend money to make sure on my end I'm doing things right. So that pisses me off when they don't publish and I spent money. I get real mad. So, okay. Another one is imperfect AI matching. Well, that's AI. AI gave me some really strange stuff and I just laughed at it. I mean, we're training the model. Who cares? Lastly, if you want to, yeah, I mean, they're right. They said clunky manual search. Yeah. If you don't want to use the AI to match you, you have the ability to search on your own, using keywords, old school. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing that for 10 years to find people. So, I mean, it was a little janky, but to be honest, you use AI on a different computer to find podcasts and then you go look and see if those podcasts are there. So, I mean, how hard was that? That was easy. So, anyways, so that is my experience. Stay tuned. And I don't know if you'll find me, but because it won't be like dental facing stuff, but it'll be around. So maybe in 3 to 6 months, I'll publish an ROI or something like that and say how many podcasts I was on. Matter of fact, I probably will. I will definitely do that once I'm done. At some point, I'm going to exhaust all the podcasts that are interested in me. Obviously, I'm not doing tons. I'm doing the ones that kind of make sense. And they allow you to cancel. They also allow you to pause, if you want to take a break until more ones come on. I mean, that's great. It's so funny. I don't know if they copied my model or I copied theirs because I've been doing that stuff for 10 years. This is stuff people ask for. Pause, cancel, start, stop. I think they said they don't raise your price as long as you stay consistent. It's literally the same model that we use for Straightsmile Solutions. So I feel pretty honored that the stuff I chose for my business model is also being used by other startups. So anyways, like literally 10 out of 10, 2 thumbs up, nothing negative to say about PodMatch. And if you're a dentist and you sign up for this, haha, I did it first. All right, thanks.